everybody? I am back at the shop tonight to get a few small things done. But before I get started in the video, I've got some exciting news, we'll just call it that. I started up an Instagram specifically for the Humvee. So if you go to Instagram right now, type in LSxHumvee, all one word, you should be able to find my account. That way I can kind of post pictures and teasers and things that I'm working on when I don't want to publish an entire YouTube video. I've got a ton of historical pictures there now from the day I got the Humvee to, you know, my first wheel and tire package, second wheel and tire package to the current pit bull rockers. So just go there, do me a favor, follow me, make a comment, let me know you're there, let me know you came off the YouTube channel. I'd love that. And I'll be posting pictures and just little stuff like that as we go through the build. And then once the build's done, just what I'm doing in the Humvee. So like I said, Instagram, LSxHumvee, I'd love to see you join up there. So let me show you some of the parts, pieces, and little stuff I'll be working on tonight. So let me show you what we got here. First off, I've got these three connectors. Now these three connectors are going to accomplish making the Holley Dominator, I'm going to call it weatherproof. I'm not going to call it waterproof, but weatherproof, being under the hood of the Humvee. If I get into some mud or something, I want to make sure that I have a way where the pins aren't just out in the open. And when I called Holley, they didn't really have a solution other than buying the wiring harnesses and then just not hooking them to anything. So what these are, is these are the connectors for the empty ports on the Holley Dominator. And then on the back, you see all these white dots. That is a bunch of this. I don't know if you can see that or not, but they're just little pieces of plastic. I can pull one out here so you can kind of see. They just go in like that and you just push them in. So it seals because there's no wires coming out. And what'll happen is it's got this rubber gasket, it clips in. These are sealed with the same kind of rubber. And then there's these two white tabs on top, lock them in place. And so when I put this into the Dominator, in theory, it should keep it somewhat weatherproof. So if water splashes up on here, I don't really have to worry about that. So those all came in. I got a bag of the pins, and I've already pinned all the backs of the connectors, so I'll show you how those go in a little bit. I will say that these three connectors with the pins were $60 just for these three things right here. So very expensive, very pricey, but I'm glad they're using really high quality parts on that Dominator. Now this is the extension cord I need for the fuel pressure piece that I have. And what it allows me to do is just hook in the Dominator wiring harness. The fuel pressure sensor wiring runs to the driver's side by the throttle body, so front of the motor. That'll plug into this, and then this will run all the way to the back of the motor where I have the fuel pressure sensor, and it allows me to extend it all the way out. I got this from Current Performance. Now let me show you something I was working on off camera, which is, if y'all have ever seen the inside of a Humvee, you know that this is the gauge cluster with all the gauges removed. Speedometer usually goes in the middle. You've got two lights. I forgot what goes here, like the brights indicator maybe. And then we had all the gauges. Now, this is angled at the driver. So normally it would actually go like this. It's angled kind of at the driver. And what I did, because I'm going to be running the Holley screen, the digital dash, I made this to fit over place, and it fits so good. I'm so happy with the way it turned out. And I'll rivet that in place, paint it green, and then I'll have a nice flat mounting surface to mount that digital dash to, and run all the wires on the back and stuff like that. So I'm really excited about this piece. This is it's gonna look really, really clean. When I get the digital dash out of the box, I will put it on here so y'all can see what that's going to look like. But I'm really excited about how well this turned out. I mean, it follows the edges just perfectly. I used that shears, the electric shears I bought from Harbor Freight, and man, it turned out really, really nice. So that's what I've got. Those are the parts I'm going to be working on. May not get it all done, especially the gauge cluster tonight, but I am going to get the plugs put on the extension cord, just some basic stuff, and give you a little bit of an update. So here we go. All right, so what I'm showing you here is the Dominator and how I have it mounted in the Humvee. Most of you have already seen this. It's in a lot of the videos. But as you can see, I've got the USB cable. It screws in, so it has a rubber grommet, weatherproof. And then I've got 3 wiring harnesses. This one's for the transmission. These 2 are the main harness and the secondary harness for the motor. And then you have the primary power harness all the way over here. Now, all of those are rubber sealed, and they already have those little white things I was showing you already in them. So they should be somewhat weatherproof. But my issue is that these 3 ports, let me zoom in a little bit. These 3 ports are just open to the elements, and you know, mud can get up in there, no telling. And those are little pins, and I just don't want it to short out the computer, the Holley Dominator. So that's why I went and I got these connectors that I just showed you, and we're gonna see how well they fit. Now they're all keyed different. You can see that they have those channels along the bottom, and they're all keyed different. So I had to do quite a bit of research to figure out which one's which and where to buy them. But you can hear they clip right in. That's awesome. And they've got this rubber seal here, whoop, right there. And then they're sealed all along the back. And I'll even take one out and show you that the inside is that same red rubber. And that just goes in there. And it's pretty tight, and it just seals it up. And then the pin up here locks them all down. And so now, in theory, the Dominator should be somewhat weatherproof, which, if nothing else, makes me a little happier on the fact that it's going to be a lot harder to destroy it if I go through a creek or I'm throwing mud up. I mean, the air box is going to, like I've shown, protect most of it. But there is always that chance that it gets a big wave of water, and I'd rather just not have these pins open to the elements. So that's done. Simple, but effective. Now let's move on to the next. All right, we are here at the back of the engine. Like I showed in the last video, the fuel pressure regulator's here. I'm a little upset at myself because I have the 90 to move this. I just forgot it at my house, and that's kind of frustrating. So I am gonna move that. I will unhook this for now just to show you. But what I'm doing essentially is the extension cord that I got from Current Performance. If you look way up right there, do you see that yellow plug? That yellow plug is for the fuel pressure sensor. Now, it makes sense to put it there because Holley doesn't know how you have your stuff set up, but they put it near the fuel rail because people usually put the fuel pressure sensor and regulator on the front of the engine because they don't have this awesome access to the back of the engine. And so it makes sense up there. But for me, I need it on the back. So what I'm going to do real quick, I'm probably going to have to, we're just going to do this for you. I wish I had a better shot for you. Let me set it up. Boom. Perfect. I'm going to go, it looks like I got to go female up through here, around here. If I knock the camera over with my shoulder, I'm sure this is theatrical masterpiece. There we go. I heard it clip. So we will get that right there. Come around. Oh, this is going to be nice. Let me loop it behind everything just to make it that much more complicated. Oh, wait, can't do that. Oil sensor. And then what I'll do is I'll obviously tie this up and put it over here. But when this is at a 90, I can just plug it in right over here. For now, I'll just plug it in like this, leave it kind of, just to make sure the plug is the same. Perfect. All right, that works. So yeah, that's good to go. I'm gonna leave that kind of up here. That's done. It's the little things, you know, that take so much time to order and get in the mail. All right, guys, one step closer. It's like just chipping away at it. All right, so let me show you. This is the gauge cluster with a piece of aluminum over it. It's how it will sit. You'll just have to imagine it in the dash of the Humvee. And then this is the Holley EFI digital dash, which will go kind of like, well, more over this way, kind of like that. So it will sit. And this is also weatherproof. The wires will go behind it behind the dash, so you won't see any wires. It'll be a really nice, clean install. It is kind of thick. She's a thick girl. But it's angled at me. I've already tested it in the truck. I'm really excited about this part especially. It has a CAN bus that you hook into switched ignition, 12-volt ground, and then a USB that you hook into the Dominator, and then I can access and program and tune and do everything right from this screen. So I'm really excited about this part, but I need to get it mounted, so I'm going to mount the aluminum to the gauge cluster and then this to the aluminum and see how it goes. Okay, so I got the plate of aluminum. As you can see, I've got the 4 holes drilled into it from the screen. I went ahead and marked where the gauges were so I know where the meat of the gauge cluster is, so when I need to mount it. And then I straight line halved where the speedo gauge was, so that was my frame of reference for where I'm going to mount the screen. And then you can kind of see I ran a scar along here to get a straight line off this top edge. So when I mount it, it should be straight, should be level, should be centered in both directions. It'll end up really nice. Let me see here. I think that's it. I don't have the actual screws to mount it because it takes teeny tiny little screws. They're like 832 or something like that. Let's see. Mounting. Well, I don't know. Those are all the screens you can do. Should just oh, here we go. Should just plug in USB. Yeah, 832 mounting holes, which are teeny tiny little screws. So I've got to go to the store and get some of those. I'm going to take this with me just so I can read over it. And then the actual digital dash comes with that mounting bracket paper template thing. So I just cut it out with a razor blade, poked some holes in it, taped it to where I needed it, and then just used a center punch to punch where I wanted to drill. So now I've at least got pilot holes where I need to go. So that's good. It's just one more step. I'll get back up here and do that 90 degree for the fuel pressure sensor. How about that camera angle? I'll get that fuel pressure sensor adapter put in, plug it up, get that completely finalized. Fuel system will be done. Cooling system will be done. I'll get the screen put in, figure out how I'm going to wire it, which I think is just a USB cable. And they do sell a longer one, so I'm probably going to have to get that from Holley because they screw in to be weatherproof, hopefully. Yeah, and then we're just going to kind of go from there. The biggest thing this coming week is going to be putting in the transmission and transfer case, getting it plumbed, getting it wired, getting all that done. I've got a new brake switch coming because this is classified as an A0 or an A1 because it had the Turbo 400 and it was kind of like a first gen 92. The ones that come with the 4 speeds have a dual brake switch. One of the switches runs the brake lights. The other switch runs the lockup for the transmission. So I've ordered that switch. It should be here in the next couple days. That way I can wire up the brake switch for the transmission. I've got that. I don't really have a lot left. I mean, that, cleaning up all the wiring, putting in the transmission transfer case. I did buy the 4-speed AM General factory shifter. It's already at my house ready to go. I just need to get my guy to fabricate that Atlas mount on the back of it. And then he's going to come next week too and fabricate an intake. Same guy that did all the plumbing for the cooling system and the fan shroud. That's Chicken City Hot Rods. If you want to look him up on Instagram, it's awesome. He does phenomenal work, like perfectionist type work, which I love. So yeah, I just kind of got to go through the list. You can see I've had my cardboard lists here, but they're all crossed off now except for a few things. So I've got to kind of go back and do a new list, which is going to button up those really small items. And that's it. So don't forget to subscribe on Instagram. Like I said, I have a new page there. It's LSxHumvee. I'll be posting a ton of pictures of this thing. Anytime I get something, any projects, it should be a pretty fun page. So I created it last night. If you get a chance, go follow that. Open up your Instagram. Hit me up. I appreciate y'all very much. I'll be working on this thing every night this coming week. And hopefully, fingers crossed, I can get it to 99.9%. And then I can order drive shafts, which is going to take a little while. But we'll have it on the road soon, guys.